Joining us from Capitol Hill, ranking member of the Armed Services Committee, Democratic Senator Jack Reed of Rhode Island. He took part in the questioning of Jeff Sessions yesterday before the Intel Committee. Joe?
Hey, Senator, wanted to ask you about the president's offer to testify before the Senate. You think that would be a bad idea, though some of your colleagues would actually like that to happen. Why do you think it would be a bad idea?
Well, I think what you'd see is what we saw yesterday with Attorney General Sessions. I'm not going to answer that question. I have some policy reason I'll claim executive privilege. And then just on a practical basis, with 5-minute rounds, there's no opportunity to develop, I think, a series of questions. But more practically and more substantively to this investigation, he has to be deposed by or testify before the special prosecutor, Mr. Mueller. That's the individual who will have all the information. He will have the legal authority to compel testimony unless there's some type of privilege, and have the ability to follow up with questions. That's what should be done. I hope it will be done.
You know, Tom Cotton was just talking about Mika's father and the passing of Mika's father. I know he had a great deal of respect for you, but I know all the way back in 2013, his first tweet was a link to an article he wrote on cyber war. Here we are 4 years later, and we have the President of the United States who knows America's been attacked in a cyber war by Russia, and yet there seems to be an incredible lack of curiosity on the part of not only the President, but also the Attorney General and people in his cabinet on the Russia's attack on us and their ability to attack again. How dangerous is this situation?
It's very dangerous. I think, as Zebig pointed out, and he was one of the great public servants of my generation, an inspiration indeed. Not enough can be said about his contribution to the country, but you've put your finger on something that is very disturbing. Attorney General Sessions yesterday seemed to be kind of oblivious to it. The president constantly tries to denigrate it, said it was just a hoax, a witch hunt, etc. It is probably the most significant threat that we face to our basic democracy. That was what Mr. Comey said. That's what every intelligence officer said. And the president seems to be in the position of rejecting facts for reasons that are hard to define. There's no counter-argument by him. And you showed yesterday when Sessions was asked, has he ever had a real serious meeting on this issue? And he said no. It's the most fundamental threat to the United States, yet the president is not only ignoring it, he's playing it down as some type of political hijinks.
Mike Barnicle.
Senator, on another topic, although still a war front topic, apparently the President of the United States has ceded policy control of Afghanistan to Secretary Mattis. Everyone has great respect for Secretary Mattis, but apparently there will be an increase in the troop level, United States troop level sent to Afghanistan. My question to you is, what do you figure the objective is at this stage of a 16-year-long war? And do you agree with the idea of the president basically sitting on the sidelines as far as Afghan policy goes?
The president can't be removed from the policy because it embraces much more than the troop levels in Afghanistan. It embraces building governmental capacity, our State Department, and one of the ironies here is he's sort of turning it over to General Mattis, Secretary Mattis, where at the same time he's cutting out or proposing to cut out from the State Department millions and millions of dollars that they'll need to conduct a whole-of-government approach. The other issue here is the relationship with Pakistan and the relationship with India and with many other countries. So the notion that this is just a one-dimensional military problem that the president can hand off to the SecDef is not right. The president has to be involved in this in a detailed way. And again, it just shows his failure to understand the complexity of these problems and the need for intervention and constant supervision.
Clint Watts.
Senator Reed, good morning and beat Navy.
Morning. Beat Navy.
That's right. One quick question.
Just once a year on Saturday. The rest of the time I want him to win.
One game a year to stay employed at the Army football team. So, quick question regarding the Russia investigation. The Armed Services Committee, the Intel Committee, just from the Senate in general. What do you want, or what would you expect from the executive branch? We're only 18 months from another election. We know that 39 different states got hacked into.
Right.
And Russian active measures, we got the German election coming up, which is one of our allies. I kind of wanted your perspective from the Senate on what you're looking for the executive branch to do.
Well, what we're looking for is the executive branch to take a leadership position on this, starting with the president, going to the American people instead of sort of jokingly dismissing this and even sort of joking around with the Russian foreign minister in the Oval Office about how he fired Comey so he could get the pressure off, and letting the people know, and only the president has that kind of bully pulpit, that this is a serious threat, that we're going to have to take steps. For example, think seriously about at least at federal elections, having an alternate paper ballot available in case there is electronic disruption. We're going to have to help the states. We're going to have to provide coordination. That's going to require some legislation, but it begins with presidential leadership, and we haven't seen that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mika.
Jack, we're